Kendra Cook, your host for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest Colorado TV Translator Association, which is the special district association responsible for bringing the area free-to-access TV stations over the air by antenna. This is a community TV station. If there is a news story or event information that you would like to share, you can call us here at the station. The number is 970-677-4119. If you're a business or organization, we welcome you to find out about sponsorship opportunities for banners or video segments run on the channel. They're very affordable. This is the Wednesday program, which is aired at 6 and 8 p.m. and then replayed the following day at 9 a.m. and noon. It's also available on demand online at both our YouTube channel and our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page. This is the program for February 19th, 2020, DCTV Daily News. From the Durango Herald, a man suspected of drunken driving crashed into the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad depot last weekend in Durango while racing another driver, that according to police. The driver, Gabriel Bay, age 28 of Monticello, Utah, was taken into custody and has 4 charges against him. According to initial reports, he apparently lost control of his truck, crashed through the depot's gates, and collided with a full-sized boxcar with enough speed to knock it off the tracks, said Commander Ray Shoup with the Durango Police Department. His passenger, Sierra Christensen, age 30, also of Monticello, was seriously injured in the crash. Durango Fire Protection District transported her to Mercy Regional Medical Center. Her injuries were not critical, Shoup said. Bay called dispatch after the crash. The person he was racing was not present at the scene. Quote, "I don't believe that person stuck around," Shoup said. Bay was charged with vehicular assault, a Class 4 felony, driving under the influence, open container in the vehicle, and engaging in a speed contest, i.e. racing. Quote, "I don't know if a speed estimate was done on anything, but he was moving pretty good," Shoup said. Bay also damaged computer equipment and an electrical box at the train depot site. Shoup said it took a crane to put the boxcar back on the tracks. Quote, "To us, the big deal is driving under the influence. We combat that daily here. If you have anything to drink, you shouldn't be behind the wheel of a vehicle," Shoup said. "These things can turn out tragic, cost people lives, and destroy families." And from the Journal with photos courtesy of the Colorado Parks and Wildlife. 2 Florida hunters who illegally killed mule deer and pronghorns will probably never hunt again in Colorado. The 2 men pleaded guilty in 2018 in a poaching operation that killed at least 3 mule deer and 6 pronghorn in Elbert and Lincoln counties. They were in Colorado while working in the energy industry. Timothy C. Draper, 33, of Bunnell, Florida, received a 20-year suspension in Lincoln County Court for a misdemeanor charge of legally possessing 3 or more big game animals. He was sentenced to 2 years supervised probation and was ordered to surrender all weapons and equipment used in his crime. He also paid a $2,100 game penalty and $4,213 in fines and court costs. Lawrence J. Coart, age 30, also of Bunnell, Florida, received a lifetime ban for willful destruction of wildlife, a Class 5 felony. Coart was sentenced to 3 years probation and ordered to surrender all of his firearms and equipment used in the crime. He paid $2,440 in fines and court costs. Draper and Coart also surrendered the trophy heads of the illegally harvested deer and pronghorn. CPW Commission hearing examiner Stephen Cooley had some tough words for the 2 poachers, according to a news release from Bill Vorgren, Public Information Officer for CPW's Southeast region. Lawrence Coart's crimes against Colorado's wildlife were committed intentionally and with complete disregard, Cooley wrote in his findings. Quote, "Mr. Coart has a history of violating wildlife laws in his home state of Florida and in North Carolina. His most recent wildlife violations in Colorado are considered among the most serious of criminal activity against wildlife, where an animal is killed for its trophy parts and the meat is abandoned to waste." Quote, "Given his history and escalating criminal behavior, Mr. Coart is viewed as a threat to Colorado's wildlife. Although he expressed remorse during his suspension hearing, his repeated criminal actions against wildlife do not reflect this," end quote. Cooley was equally unmoved by Draper's claim that his involvement was minimal compared to Coart. He noted Draper, quote, "expressed little remorse or accountability for his actions. Timothy Draper has repeatedly demonstrated a deliberate lack of regard for Colorado's wildlife," Cooley wrote, quote, "his actions are not viewed as hunting, but rather as outright poaching, done without any valid license or outside established hunting seasons. The suspensions end a poaching case triggered by a tip to CPW's poaching hotline, Operation Game Thief. CPW officers Ben Meyer and Logan Wilkins investigated the Cohort and Draper suspects who were in Colorado working in the energy industry. CPW evidence showed the two men killed deer and pronghorn, decapitating some and leaving their torsos, and shipped their heads to a taxidermist in Florida. CPW worked with Colorado Springs Police Department, the Lyman Police Department, and the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office in the case. Anyone who has information about a possible crime against wildlife is encouraged to call CPW or report it anonymously to Operation Game Thief. The number is 1-877-COLORADO-GT or 877-265-6648, or you can email CPW at game.thief@state.co.us. A $500 reward is offered in cases involving big game or endangered species, $250 for turkey cases, and $100 for fishing and small game cases. The reward fund is maintained by private contributions. And I saw some turkeys this morning. That was a nice sight. And from the Durango Herald, more reporting on the increased need for a police state we have chosen collectively to live in. Stock photo from Adobe. A camera posted at 9th Street and Main Avenue for snowdown was a huge success for law enforcement, according to the Durango Police Department, and now the agency is looking into a more robust and permanent public surveillance system for downtown Durango. DPD is considering installing 6 surveillance cameras in downtown Durango as part of a huge effort to work smarter with less presence, said Deputy Chief Bryce Current. The agency tested video surveillance at the Snowdown Light Parade earlier this year and found the system's analytics useful for tracking identified individuals, he said. Software connected to the surveillance system gives law enforcement the ability to identify individuals in a crowd and track their movements. The system could be useful for tracking lost individuals, solving a crime, or identifying how a suspicious package made it to a specific location, Current said. But the camera used for the light parade was just a trial, and DPD is now looking into companies such as Avalon, a Canadian-based company that designs, develops, and manufactures artificial intelligence-powered security solutions. What could go wrong there? For a more permanent system is what they're looking at, Current said. Any decision to install a surveillance system downtown would require approval from Durango City Council. DPD is not looking for software with facial recognition systems, controversial technology that has sparked a nationwide debate about a balance between privacy and public safety. The agency is most interested in technology that allows law enforcement to search video for a specific person, offers a notification system for suspicious activity, and provides easy integration with private surveillance systems around the city, Current said. Quote, "You don't have to have people sitting there looking at screens," he said. 98% of the video will probably never be viewed. But Thomas Downing, general manager at Garden Sorts Sporting Goods, said he doesn't feel comfortable with Durango police installing cameras to watch the downtown. Quote, "It seems like for our small little town, it's overkill," he said. "To me, the question is this really necessary right now?" Downing, who has lived in Durango since 1993, said a proposal to install surveillance downtown feels like a little like Big Brother from George Orwell's dystopian classic 1984. Leanne Brock, a bartender at the Irish Embassy, said she and some of her colleagues thought of the omnipresent government surveillance described in Orwell's novel when the first camera was installed. But surveillance footage takes some of the pressure off bartenders to help law enforcement solve a possible crime, she said. Quote, "It does make us feel a little safer," Brock said. "Most of our bartenders are women." Eddie Inglesman, a bartender, or Edie, I'm not sure, at Oreo's Roadhouse, said a surveillance system downtown, quote, "doesn't bother me. If you don't do anything wrong, there's nothing to worry about." Installing cameras downtown may alleviate the need for a robust, uniformed officer presence in the city's central business district, Current said, but the prospect of fewer uniformed police officers downtown could create a sense that there is less security and not more, Inglesman said. Quote, "If they're going to choose one or the other, I'd rather see them in person," she said. "Their presence is more known, and not everybody's going to know there are cameras up there." And now let's take a look at our local weather for the week. Today, Wednesday, was mostly sunny with a high near 43 degrees. Light and variable winds becoming northwest 5 to 10 miles an hour during the afternoon, and tonight mostly clear with a low around 17 degrees. The north winds continue at 5 to 10 miles an hour, making it feel a little bit colder. Thursday, we look for sunny skies and a high near 43. North-northeast winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour, becoming west in the afternoon. Then Thursday night, mostly clear and a low around 24. Those north-northeast winds continue around just 5 miles an hour, becoming southeast by evening. Friday, we warm up with more sunny skies and a high near 48 degrees. Southeast winds around 5 miles an hour become south-southwest in the afternoon. Then Friday night, after a nice warm day, a 30% chance of snow showers comes in now after 11 p.m. Mostly cloudy and a low around 30 degrees on the overnight. And then Saturday, we're looking for snow showers likely before 11 a.m. in the morning. And then as it warms up, they may turn to rain showers. The high is near 46 on the day. So the chance of precipitation on the National Weather Service says 80%. For our local, we're looking more like 40%. So we'll see what kind of rain and snow combination we might get. Then Saturday night, we have also continued rain and snow showers likely, becoming all snow after 9 p.m. at night. Mostly cloudy with a low around 26. Then Sunday, mostly sunny and a high near 43, so we'll have some melt-off. Sunday night, mostly clear with a low around 23. And Monday, mostly sunny with a high near 39 degrees. Monday night, partly cloudy and a low around 16. And now, back to our news. News on a RICO mine from the Journal with file photos. For nearly 10 years, Atlantic Richfield Company has been cleaning up the RICO Argentine mine site along the Dolores River as part of a 2011 Environmental Protection Agency removal order. Now, ARCO seeks more than $63.7 million in cleanup costs from the mine's previous owners, which it claims is a part of NL Industries, Inc. The suit was filed January 28th in U.S. District Court in Colorado under the Comprehensive Environmental Response, Compensation, and Liability Act. Quote, in this action, Atlantic Richfield seeks to recover certain costs it has incurred and will incur in the future, responding to releases and threatened releases of hazardous substances at certain facilities and locations within the RICO Argentine site near RICO, the company states in the complaint. From 1927 to 1943, the RICO Argentine mine was owned and operated by NL Industries' predecessors and subsidiaries, the lawsuit claims. ARCO alleges the defendant is responsible for mitigating hazardous mine drainage from mining operations by its predecessors. Quote, although disposals and release of hazardous substances by NL defendants' predecessors contributed to the conditions that are being addressed by the removal action, to date, NL defendants have refused requests from Atlantic Richfield to bear any of the costs, the lawsuit states. In its cleanup order, the EPA alleged that ARCO, which now owns the RICO Argentine mine site, is a successor to previous mine owners and operators. Mining at the site began in the late 19th century and produced silver, zinc, lead, gold, and pyrite from a network of hard rock tunnels. In 1925, the RICO Mining and Reduction Company owned and operated the mine, according to the lawsuit. In 1927, the St. Louis Smelting and Refining Company acquired RICO Mining's assets and liabilities and conducted mining operations for 2 decades. ARCO claims that in 1927, St. Louis Smelting and Refining became a wholly owned subsidiary of the National Lead Company, which changed its name to NL Industries, Inc. in 1971. ARCO reports it has spent $63 million in reclamation and pollution controls at RICO Argentine mine since the 2011 EPA cleanup order. It seeks a declaratory judgment to hold NL Industry defendants liable for past, present, and future mitigation and cleanup costs. Mine reclamation progresses after mining ceased in the early 1970s. Water containing heavy metals drained through the tunnels and was redirected to exit at the St. Louis Tunnel, located adjacent to the Dolores River and just north of the town of RICO. From there, the mine runoff, which accumulates unnaturally high levels of heavy metals hazardous to humans and wildlife, went through a water treatment plant and into a series of settling ponds before being released back into the Dolores River. The Dolores River provides agricultural and municipal water for the Ute Mountain Ute tribe and 28,000 people in Montezuma and Dolores counties. In 1996, the water treatment system in settling ponds fell into disrepair, triggering lawsuits and state and federal cleanup orders. By 2000, EPA emergency teams were at the site to keep settling ponds from overflowing into the river. In 2011, an EPA Superfund order initiated a reclamation program that includes new relief wells, more advanced water treatment, real-time monitoring, and a new waste disposal site. A pilot water treatment system that uses biological controls has worked better than expected and will be scaled up to treat higher volumes of mine drainage year-round. The enhanced wetland demonstration treatment system is one of 2 in the nation and the only one at such a high elevation. In 2016, 2 new relief wells were installed at the St. Louis Tunnel that will help drain the tunnel and prevent a blowout. Mine and EPA officials estimate 1.7 million to 2.2 million gallons of water is backed up in that mine. Critical systems are wired to be monitored in real time, and live cameras monitor the plant. Mine managers and the EPA are notified remotely about the water level and pressure behind the collapsed tunnel and about flow rates from the mine into the water treatment facility. An automated system alerts county and emergency managers, irrigation managers, and sheriff's offices if the Dolores River is threatened. Quote, "We get real-time readings that ping us on the conditions," said Paul Perrinard, EPA's cleanup coordinator at the mine in 2016. Quote, "It's an impressive system that continuously tracks and monitors operations." I guess Big Brother's doing a good job over at the mines. And from the Journal, a Colorado Sun report on the status of garbage in Colorado with photo by Catherine Scott. The town of Avon did something daring in January. It banned expanded polystyrene food containers, aka styrofoam. The move made the town the first community in Colorado to forbid such takeout food containers, which don't do well in microwaves or with trash recyclers. But it also put the town at odds with an obscure state law that prevents cities and towns from banning plastics. Avon's ordinance number 19-11 wasn't completely brazen, though. It was contingent on whether state lawmakers could overturn the 30-year-old state statute. A bill to repeal local preemption failed to make it out of Senate committee last week. Now the town is counting on a different measure. House Bill 1162 would also ban polystyrene, but at the state level. It also has the blessing, or at least no opposition, of some of the groups that oppose rolling back the preemption. But that's no guarantee Colorado will ever figure out how to modernize its waste laws, or whether it needs to, in order to satisfy the state's environmental goals by limiting single-use plastics used in things like grocery bags and straws and styrofoam containers. Similar bills were proposed last year with no success. More are on the way this session. It's created eco-frustration among towns trying to reduce waste and for recyclers who are struggling to find a market after China stopped taking most recyclable plastics in 2018. As previously reported in the Colorado Sun, the state ban on local plastic bans stems from 1989's House Bill 1300. It prevented local governments, quote, from regulating the use of plastic materials or products. The law was amended in 1993 with House Bill 1318, called the, quote, Promotion of Disposal Alternatives, which added the language about municipalities not restricting or mandating containers, packaging, and labeling. Quote, "Our conclusion was that this was really based on the state's concern that they didn't want local governments to interfere with the type of plastics recycled," Telluride town attorney Kevin Geiger said last year. In Colorado, at least 13 towns have gone ahead with some sort of plastics ban or bag fee, including the city of Denver, where a 10-cent fee goes into effect July 1st. The town of Avon also charges a 10-cent fee for plastic bags since passing an ordinance in 2017. Quote, "We have not been challenged on that," Heel said. Polystyrene is difficult, though not impossible, to recycle. Over at Alpine Waste and Recycling in Denver, the company invested in a machine that compacts used foam into blocks heavy enough that they won't fly off trucks. But food containers are a different beast, especially if they aren't cleaned. Recycling is a tough business, Wendy Foth, Alpine's recyclable materials manager, said in an email. Quote, "We have also seen a push to eliminate polystyrene materials entirely, but here at parent company GFL Environmental, we are proud to say we are still one of the few recycling facilities in the nation with the equipment and the willingness to handle polystyrene," she said. While there are differing studies on how long it takes for polystyrene foam to decompose, one study recently put it at, quote, decades or centuries when exposed to sunlight rather than thousands of years. According to SciTech Daily, that's still a long time. Several lawmakers who are backing plastic use bills spoke out about their own environmental concerns. Quote, "We've got to take steps to reduce the pollution that we are creating," said State Representative Emily Sirota, a Denver Democrat who is sponsoring the bill to ban single-use plastics statewide to reduce pollution. "If China can do it, Colorado can certainly do it," she said. "We aren't reinventing the wheel here. Other states and local governments have done what we are trying to do." According to the National Conference of State Legislatures, 8 states have banned single-use bags. You can bet I know who's in charge of those states as governors. Last year, 95 bills were introduced at the state level to consider a ban or fee. About 15 states, including Colorado, have a preemption in place. Industry groups say they don't want a patchwork of separate policies in cities. Environmental advocates say policies will help communities gain more awareness of how much trash is produced and encourage recycling. Colorado's recycling rate inched up to 17.2% in 2018 compared with 12% the year before. That according to EcoCycle's State of Recycling in Colorado report. In an ongoing debate that is creating tensions between urban and rural communities, said Nancy Bilicia, an instructor of political science at the University of Colorado, who specializes in American politics and environmental policy. Quote, and communities have had to have all kinds of clever workarounds because there are a number of communities in Colorado that have various bag rules and so on, but they just have to use clever language that doesn't violate the state rules, she said. But she added, if the preemption bill is resurrected in a different form, she wants to see the public more engaged in the issue to help balance out the messaging from lobbying interests. For what it's worth, Roberts with the Bioscience Association said the two pending plastic bills include language that separate out her concerns. Food does not mean a drug, they read. At this time, CBSA is not weighing in on those bills. I think that they are narrower in scope and that they clearly specify the types of materials or products that are being regulated, she said. Last year's bill to ban polystyrene also made the distinction that food does not include drugs, but there was still opposition. The American Chemistry Council pointed out that alternatives tend to cost more money and the infrastructure to recycle wasn't always there. But the general consensus of why it didn't pass was that the bill was introduced too late. Representative Lisa Cutter, who is sponsoring the bill to ban styrofoam, says she's confident that this bill will pass despite the preemption bill dying last week. Unlike last year's bill that only included takeout food, this year's bill includes hospitals, schools, and dine-in restaurants. We are all after the same things, which is to eliminate or reduce excessive plastics in Colorado. But the bills do different things, she added. Styrofoam is one of the worst offenders when it comes to pollution, and the issue has been worked on a lot. On Tuesday, federal lawmakers introduced legislation to phase out some single-use plastic products. Called the, quote, Break Free from Plastic Pollution Act of 2020, it would create a national beverage container refund program, spur investment in recycling and composting infrastructure, and require large companies to reduce wasteful packaging and design plastic products with less waste. Awareness is definitely growing, said Suzanne Jones, executive director of Boulder County recycler EcoCycle. While she believes it will take a few years for a federal law to pass, Colorado is much closer to passing a plastics law thanks to its past failures. She feels many of the issues got worked out during past sessions, and 2020 could be the year Colorado gets a statewide plastics law on the books. And today's High Canyon Country happenings. A reminder of the Pick and Hoe fundraising Texas Hold'em Poker Tournament benefit this Saturday, February 22nd at Thompson Trucking, the old Lonesome Dove and Rusty's location. Registration starts at 9 a.m., the Calcutta auction starts at 10, and the games begin at 11 a.m. You can join the game, cheer on your favorite player, or just come on out, donate, and eat and enjoy the day. There will be $7.50 red Solo cups for keg beer and $7.50 for the food. All proceeds of the food go to the Pick and Hoe funding for the 65th year, July 3rd and 4th. The Dove Creek Chamber is once again taking the lead on the event coordination. Please RSVP to Marty Spitzer, who is hosting this amazing event, and that way she can get an idea for the amount of food and tables. You can contact her at 970-739-0447. And the Dove Creek Chamber still has tickets for the cash 50-50 chance drawing that will take place on Saturday. 50% of the cash amount goes to the winner and the other half to the Kids and Adult Games Fund. There are tickets available at the State Line or Frosty's Liquor Store in Dove Creek, or catch the DC Chamber by calling at 970-560-2856. There's 3 tickets for $5 or 8 tickets for $10. Good luck to all. Drawing February 22nd will be between 2 and 3 p.m. And thank you for all the community support to fund an amazing tradition to continue in Dove Creek with the Pick and Hoe. And a note from DCTV News regarding this year's elections. We will be covering election news on our local level, and to that end, as a community TV station, all candidates are welcome to arrange to come into the studio and, in conjunction with DCTV Daily News, present their positions or introduce themselves to our audience for a segment up to 2 minutes in length for each candidate. This is for the Dove Creek Town Board candidates and the County Commissioner candidates. Those segments will be run on the DCTV channel in special political reports and be available online for each candidate to use on social media campaigns. This is provided free of charge. Please make arrangements by calling the station at 970-677-4119. And I post up all of these High Canyon Country happenings on our Facebook page, which is DCTV News at Noon, where you can also watch the program replay along with news links and stories of local interest. And you too can share other events or news there and join in on the conversation. Again, this is your local community TV station, so if you have something you'd like to share, please contact us. The email is dcbnnews@gmail.com, or you can call the station. It's 970-677-4119. And thanks for tuning in to DCTV Daily News. Programs are broadcast Monday through Friday with replays online on our YouTube channel or DCTV News at Noon on Facebook. If you like the program, please do like us and follow us on Facebook and share it with your friends and family. This has been a production of DCTV for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado, USA. I'm Kendra Cook. Thank you for watching.